Well, hey, good morning to you. Welcome to the Book of Enoch, where we're going through the Book of Enoch verse by verse, because the Book of Enoch is the only real example that we have of tons of detail on what it'll be like in the days of Noah. And we were told in the end times that it'll be like the days of Noah. So what was this like? Because Enoch was there and he had a lot to say. Now, I've been going through this for quite a while. I'm doing it from a cave. And this is just what God called me to do. As I prayed about it, he gave me the go-ahead to do it and said, but I want you to do it from a cave. Now, the other part of this is that I'm not saying that Enoch belongs in the Bible. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying that Jude quotes Enoch as a prophet, and it says, according to the prophecy of Enoch, and then quotes the Book of Enoch. And Jesus references Enoch. I think it's important that we just see what he had to say at the very least. He saw a lot of incredible things. And today, where we're beginning is really what I believe to be the most incredible, because where we are at this point is Enoch has pleaded with God on behalf of the watchers who have lain with women and given rise to the Nephilim. And he said, unfortunately, you're going to all your children are going to murder each other, and you're going to watch it, and you're going to be thrown in a dark tomb until Judgment Day. And then we're at this moment now, but he also tells them that all the secrets that were taught, because the Watchers taught the Nephilim secrets, like how to work metal and make weapons and have jewelry and makeup and just the secrets of the moon and the stars and the sun and how to control the world openly. And Enoch tells them that the things that they taught them was actually useless things. When you look at the realm of the kingdom of heaven, it's a much larger picture. And we're going to see that picture today, beginning today. And what we're about to see is Enoch is going to be taken up, and he's going to be shown a lot of fascinating things throughout the universe and throughout heaven. And it's important that everything he sees, we talk about in great detail. You can't just go, oh, and then he saw this thing, and we just pass it. Like, we're going to talk about each thing. So it's going to take a while for this journey. But we're just going to pick it up right there where we left off. Enoch chapter 17, verse 1. And they took and brought me to a place in which those who were there were like flaming fire. And when they wished, they appeared as men. And they brought me to the place of darkness and to a mountain, the point of whose summit reached to heaven. All right, I'm going to pause there real quick because, again, we're going to talk about each thing in detail. So we're going to focus on those who were like flaming fire, and when they wished, they appeared as men. Now, what they're talking about here is they're talking about angels. And we're going to kind of jump into the Bible because we're only going to use the Bible and Enoch as reference. Now, before we do get into the Hebrews here for a second, I do want to pause and say, and they took me and brought me. Now, who is they? Now, what we're going to find out is there's several angels with them. There is Uriel, Raphael, Rigel, Michael, Seraqual, Gabriel, and Ramiel. These are the angels who are with Enoch. And we'll find that later as we continue, that each one of them is going to say, well, they're going to show him and say different things throughout the next few chapters. So just know when it says they took me, that's who they took. And they took him to a place where they were like flaming fire. And when they wished, they appeared as men. So we're just going to see what the Bible has to say. What are these people that are flaming fire, but when they wish, they appear like men? So we're going to jump to Hebrews 1:7. And of the angels, he says, who makes his angels spirits and his minister a flame of fire. So here what we're seeing in Hebrews is that, when you see an angel and he hasn't taken human form, he looks like a flame of fire if you happen to see him. And this is something that, I believe it's very important to understand angels in general, because as we've studied the Watchers, we've seen that they're very similar to us. They weep when they're sad. They tremble when they're scared. They jump with joy when they're excited. Like, they have the same emotions we have, but they're eternal. And as we've seen in Enoch, and of course we see in the world, and as we see in the universe and in heaven and throughout the Bible, is that their dwelling place is in heaven. It's not here. The only ones that are actually here are the Watchers, those who have business here on God's behalf. Now, So those are the, so they're invisible most of the time, but they have the appearance of a flame of fire, or they can take human form. Now, we've seen them take human form. Just kind of an example is whenever Abraham was visited by three men, and we later learned that those three men, two of them were angels and one of them was God, and they clearly took on human form because they ate a meal with him. When the angels went to Sodom, people wanted to rape them, so they biologically could have. I'm sure the angels wouldn't have let them, of course, but an angel could kill the whole world if they were given instructions to. So, but they take on human form. And we know that because we've seen that in several examples throughout the Word of God in the stories. But it also says in Psalm 104, who makes his angels spirits, his ministers a flame of fire. So we got to understand clearly that that's who we're talking about here. We're talking about angels. So the angels, and we'll find out later who, they ultimately took them to where angels dwell. And that's an important note, because what we're going to see in the next episode is when we get into this mountain, it's clearly reaching the throne room of God is where he's at. So we're going to get into that next time. We're going to save that for the next episode because it's important. But right now what we know is those angels who were with him, they took him to a place where angels appear as flame of fire. And when they wish, they could be men. Just whenever they wish. It's fascinating. And Hebrews also talks about how many of us entertain angels unaware, thinking they're just strangers. So there you go, man. Stick with us. Fascinating stuff. Any insight on any of this, definitely put it below. Do want to take a moment and say that, most people watch this channel are not subscribers. Click that subscribe button. It greatly increases the algorithm and our ability to get these messages out. That link is below. But the most important part of this channel is we take prayer requests. So please don't ever, ever hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.